Hi there, everybody. I'm Jose. This is Survival in S, and welcome back. Well, you're probably wondering what I'm doing here. Well, truthfully, what I'm doing is I'm waterproofing my waterproof jacket. Now that sounds contradictory, I know. However, I'll explain it to you. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. If you haven't hit the like button or the subscribe button, please do so. It really helps my channel grow, and it allows me to bring you more informative videos. All right, so you're probably asking the question, why would I be waterproofing a waterproof jacket? Shouldn't waterproof jackets already be waterproof? Well, theoretically speaking, yes, but however, not always the case. I'll explain. You see, over time, your waterproof jacket will lose its ability to actually repel water through normal use, sweat, and dirt. You see, the fabric, the pores specifically in your fabric, they get clogged up with perspiration, dirt, and whatnot. And over time, it loses its ability to actually repel water. And so periodically, you're going to have to wash your jacket. And if it's an older jacket, you're also going to have to reapply what they call DWR, durable water repellent, which is what your fabric comes with. And like I said, over time, that fabric loses its ability to repel water. And there's a number of ways you can restore its waterproofness, and that's by adding some sort of a waterproof additive, which you can buy in your outdoor stores, and throwing it into your wash at the same time you're washing your jacket. Or you can apply a spray-on fabric material, which is sort of like a silicone, but it does restore the waterproofness of your jacket. And this is the type I actually prefer to use because it's directly sprayed right on, and you just spray it, leave it for 24 hours to hang, and your jacket becomes waterproof. But we're going to talk about Gore-Tex simply because Gore-Tex is probably the most well-known fabric of waterproofness that there is on the market, and it's been around for quite a long time. Now, some of these jackets are very expensive. They can go anywhere between $350 to about $3,000. Yeah, you heard me right, $3,000. It's ridiculous, isn't it? However, with that kind of money that you're going to shell out, you'd expect that that jacket or that other piece of clothing that's supposed to be waterproof is going to come waterproof. However, that's not always the case. You see, jackets and other materials are usually constructed by sewing pieces of material together. And where those pieces of material have been sewn, you get what they call seams. And points of entry are seams where they've been sewn together. Zippers is another point of entry. And of course, your collar, if you don't have a hood, is another point of entry. And unfortunately, some tent manufacturers and clothing manufacturers that sell waterproof material do not seam seal those entry points. And here's what I mean. I'm going to take this jacket here for an example. Now, as you can see here, the seams are tape sealed on this jacket, okay? And that prevents water from infiltrating your jacket through the seams where they've been stitched together, okay? Now, you can do it two ways. You can either seam seal it with a liquid seam sealer that you can apply yourself and it's tape seal it. As I showed you here, it's a little bit more lengthy process, but you buy the tape and you actually seal it on using an iron. But be careful that the iron is not too hot and you burn through the material. So like I said, not always the case. So when you purchase your waterproof jacket or your tent, check inside to make sure that the seams have all been sealed. Okay, so let's talk about why you would require a waterproof jacket or a waterproof tent. Well, if you're an outdoor enthusiast like myself and you're out backpacking, hiking, camping, or whatever, you're going to want to stay dry. Nobody likes to be wet and uncomfortable. However, you need to consider a few things. These jackets, although they are waterproof, they're only waterproof to a certain degree, especially when you're exerting yourself physically, because sooner or later you're either going to get wet from the outside, which is the weather elements, or from the inside when you start perspiring. Okay? The idea with the waterproof jackets is you want to regulate the internal heat. So when you're exerting yourself, we've all been through this, you start to get that clammy feeling inside on your skin. Well, that's where you know you're going to start sweating shortly after that. And you want to regulate simply by ventilating, opening up your zippers and your flaps and your underarms, or start taking off some layers. Because if you don't, you're going to quickly end up sweating. And yep, believe it or not, even in the summer, you can get hypothermic. Not just in winter. And some of these are actually breathable, which means they allow some of your body heat to actually pass through the Gore-Tex pores so that it regulates some of your heat. Not to say that you still won't sweat inside these things, because once you start exerting yourself with activities like biking and snowshoeing, you are going to get hot and you're going to start sweating. So you need to regulate so you don't get wet from the inside. This particular jacket comes with a nice hood that is adjustable, okay, right here. And as you can see here, some of these companies are now coming out with waterproof zippers. However, like I said, over time, these zippers are going to deteriorate to a point where they will no longer be able to repel water. That's why when I purchase jackets, I always purchase them with rain flaps. Okay, with a tab on the bottom, keeps it secure. And now the zipper is protected from entry point for water. Now the type of durable water repellent I like to add to my jacket is this particular one here by Atco. This one is specifically made for waterproof fabric like Gore-Tex. It's not harmful. You simply spray it on, let it dry for 24 hours, and you're good to go. After you've washed it, of course. And this one is actually environmentally friendly. So you don't need to worry about destroying the environment with this stuff. And it's just this simple. Spray it on, let her dry. Can't get any easier than that, folks. All right, so some of you may be asking, well, Jose, when do you know that your waterproof jacket is not waterproof anymore? Well, it's quite simple, actually. When you first purchase your jacket, you'll notice when you're out in the rain that the fabric is helping the water to bead on the surface. And by beading, I mean like this. you'll notice that the water was beading there and it didn't pass through. So that tells me the jacket is still waterproof. When it's not beading any longer, that's the indication when you know that you need to restore the durable water repellent on your jacket. Pretty simple stuff, but a lot of people do not know, and they believe that once they purchase their jacket that it will remain waterproof for the entire duration of its life, and that is not the case. So be aware of a couple of those points. One, make sure that it is seam sealed on the inside, and two, always check that the water is beading on the surface of the material, and when it's not, that's the time to restore the durable water repellent. Now, I also have a few golfer friends, and they tell me that they always have problems with their waterproof garments, including their shoes. Yep, believe it or not, this stuff works on all kinds of fabrics for clothing, make it waterproof, and shoes as well. So you can actually apply it to your shoes, let it dry, and you're good to go. Waterproof shoes. Jackets, shoes, gloves, hats, pretty much any type of clothing will work. This will even work on jackets that are not waterproof. Now, some jackets or clothing will identify itself as water resistant. Don't get the two mixed up. They're not the same thing. Waterproof means completely waterproof. Water resistant simply means it'll resist penetration of water when it's misty or very light rain, but eventually it's going to break down and water will seep in. So even if your jackets are not waterproof and you want to make them waterproof, this stuff will work. All right, so it's been about 24 hours now since I applied the durable water repellent on the jacket, and not a moment too soon. As you can see, the weather has turned for the worst. We're due to get a pile of rain here. We got Hurricane Lee coming up the coast, and we're expecting about 3 or 4 days of solid rain, so it's going to be a good test. But just to give you a quick demonstration here, as you can see, the water just beads on there now, and it just runs right off. It doesn't collect or pool. But just to drive the point home, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a collection pool of water on the jacket here that I've propped up and let it sit for about a half an hour, just to show you how well this durable water repellent works. Okay, so we've got a nice pool of water here. I'm just going to bring the camera a little closer so you can see it. Now we're going to let that sit for about a half an hour to see if it penetrates through the membrane and the fabric after the durable water repellent has been applied. Alright, so it's been about a half an hour, and there's a nice pool of water still here that has not seeped through. So I'm going to bring the camera closer so you can have a better look to see how well this durable water repellent that I have sprayed on this jacket actually truly works. there you have it, folks. Durable water repellent to restore the waterproofness of your waterproof jacket. Just before closing this off, the last thing I want to say is when you go out looking for your waterproof jacket, you don't need to spend a ton of money. This jacket is waterproof, as I have just demonstrated, and this jacket cost me $35. All you've got to do is take your time, search for a nice jacket that you want, either online or at your local outdoor store. You don't need to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars for a top quality waterproof jacket. All right, so that's pretty much it for today's episode on waterproofing your waterproof jackets. I hope this was informative to you. Like I said earlier, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do so now, and the like button. See you on the next video.